My name's Arthur Potts-Dawson and I'm going to be cooking today stuffed red peppers with garden vegetables, parmesan and fresh herbs. All of it organic, all of it delicious, because in my opinion organic tastes better. I don't actually wash mushrooms, I peel them. And what I do with this is a flat mushroom, just clip the bottom of the mushroom off. And now the idea about making a decent ratatouille, because I need everything to be the same shape because it needs to cook at the same time. Basically, I'm running my knife along this mushroom and then sort of turn it round 45 degrees and then cut again, and it creates little cubes. So I've got some light virgin olive oil, and that's quite a bit, a couple of tablespoons. I'm trying to get the water out of the mushrooms as quickly as possible, and I'm trying to do it for everything, otherwise you'll end up with a very stewy ratatouille. I'm not looking for a stewy ratatouille, I'm looking for a nice textured ratatouille. That's perfect. Now we're going to season this at every stage. A little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. That's going to take 5 minutes, and what I need to do now is start on with my next vegetable. You should wash all your vegetables, even if they are organic. I don't use these pips, can't eat them. Make sure you get every single one out. I need to be quite vigilant about that. Right, so let's just clip this off and we'll come back to those. That's not waste. I'm going to make the same shape as I did with the mushroom. I do that by cutting down the length of it, just get it to relatively the same shape, and I'm happy. Right, so let's have this out now. You can see that's ready. A little bit of colour, the liquid's lifted off it, and you can see that oil drain away. Stage 2. Fry the peppers. 2 red peppers, hot pan. It must always sizzle. If it goes in and doesn't really do much, start again. Season it. If you don't season it now, you're going to have to season it a lot at the end. Peppers, zucchini and tomatoes all tend to come into season around about the same time. It's when the sun has given all of its energy to them. So you've got this lovely sweet flavour, because sunshine equals sweetness. It's as simple as that. And you want to then just, I would suggest that the peppers take as much time to cook as the new ones do to cut. Now, don't throw it. Now we're going to come to the courgette. Again, all organic. Take the top off, take the bottom off. Now, cut a line in it and then lay it flat, and it doesn't wobble anymore. You then cut that into very long matchsticks. What I then do is just turn that. Zucchini done, peppers done, into the pot. Just let any of the liquid now drain off that. Hot oil, again frying. I want to start with the tomatoes now. Cut the tomato in half and then in half again. Put your knife in at the tip and just pull it down where the seeds are. So you can still get left with all of the flesh, but you take the seeds out. And these are called tomato petals in the trade. We slice through. I'm just going to leave those there because I want to show you how to dice an onion. When you cut the root, you just want to cut as little off as possible, because inside here is the continuation of that root which runs into the heart of the onion. When I cut this onion in half, you'll see that root is pretty much what holds the onion together. We want to cut to the root or just before it. Now we need to come this way. I slice in, not to the root, just before it. What that's going to create is, when you cut down on it, is a squared onion. These courgettes are now browned. Toss that around, and let's just get any liquid out of that we don't want. I'll show you a little trick with garlic. Chop it down, and then a little trick, just put a turn of salt into that and just push through the garlic. we're going to we're just squashing the garlic and just sort of turning it into more of a paste. So you can hardly see it on the board. That means you can hardly see it in the dish. Here's the sound that I always like hearing when I'm making a ratatouille. I've made 2 or 3 alterations to the classic ratatouille. One of them is mushrooms. The second of them is mint, and you'll never really find mint in ratatouille. Can you see how the tomatoes have changed? They've become a little bit floury. It's stopped frying now, it's started to stew. Let's get those off. So those tomatoes are perfect now, and we need to start making the ratatouille base. And that base consists of onions, garlic, and some of the seeds of change, basil, parmesan and cherry tomato sauce. And what I'm working on at the moment is the Seeds of Change Great Flavours Well Grown campaign, which is all about really good food, wonderful flavours, organic ingredients. The onions that I've cut, I need to put into here, and I don't want to get them frying too aggressively. Mint is something that I put into ratatouille just because it adds that, just that slightly, is a different flavour, makes it much fresher. Once these onions go a little bit translucent, that's when I add my garlic, and this is the garlic that I've pounded into submission. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop this sauce in now. I just want to cook this out, just heat it up a little bit, and it's great because you can actually see the chunks of cherry tomatoes, you can see the fresh herbs in there, and what I do now is I top those fresh herbs up with basil and mint. We're going to add all of our wonderfully cooked vegetables. What I put now, 1.5 teaspoons red wine vinegar. I always put a tiny little pinch of sugar. It's a bit like, you know, vinegar and sugar going together, it's slightly sweet and sour. And this just adds a little bit of depth. Let's open these peppers up. We need to try and keep this bit here because for presentation it's absolutely gorgeous. So let's put those inside my baking tray. Let's take this lovely hot ratatouille, and I'm stuffing them quite full. Look at this. We get some Parmesan cheese. You can even buy organic Parmesan now, which is just genius. So, sprinkle quite a lot on top. And remember, you've already started cooking that red pepper by putting hot ratatouille into it. So, into the oven, and we'll give that about 10 minutes. Let's have a look. Oh yes, perfect. And what I do with these, I just put a tiny little bit of this really good oil on top now, just to finish it off. That Parmesan has gone beautifully crisp, and that ratatouille's got an amazing flavour in it. It's got the Seeds of Change sauce inside, Parmesan, a little bit of cherry tomatoes, fresh basil. This is delicious.